Welcome to the Doc G Show, a radio show cluster. Without further ado, critics have said he has the face for radio and a voice for silent films. Your host, Ben Doc G Gordon.
And we are on the air. Welcome to the Doc G Show. I'm your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, not yet father of the bride, Charette.
What's up, Doc G? How's it going, sir?
Oh, man. It's going pretty good. Father of the Bride, Mike.
Yeah, Steve
You
Martin.
seen that movie?
No. I know Steve Martin's in it, but...
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's a classic, Mike. Well, apparently not to Rotten Tomatoes, because I looked it up when I wrote that down, and not huge fans.
No?
But I like it. I mean, you know, you got Steve Martin.
Mm-hmm.
You got Martin Short. Martin Short is Franck. He's got a kooky little accent. It's great.
That's a fact.
And, you know, I mean, even though it's 34 years ago, Steve Martin looks the exact same. And you're like, wow, that dude doesn't age. My goodness. Look at him, you know?
He started with the gray hair super early. So that
Very
was
early.
his... Yeah.
Very early, like 25, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Something.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I will always say, and I'm sure Steve Martin agrees with me, gray hair, way better than no hair.
Mm-hmm. Very
Always
true.
better. Sorry
Very
to
true.
all our bald listeners. Please don't stop listening. Not your fault.
Nope.
Not your fault. Mike, here's something that will make the listeners excited. We've got something, this is going to put them through the roof, especially the bald folks. I don't know why the bald folks. But, Mike,
Wait, what?
We've got a fantastic giveaway.
Giveaway? What?
That's right. That's right, Mike. Free stuff. Free stuff. And you're not going to believe, Mike, this is a lot of free stuff. This is a lot of free stuff. Get this. The Doc G Show giveaway total $1.1 million.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's a nice giveaway, Doc G.
We are giving the people what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm sure, now that I've got everybody's attention, let me tell you, this giveaway has $100,000 in it. We're giving away a car. We're giving away a house. That's right. And now that everybody is very excited, I've got to tell you how to enter. Okay? So, go ahead. I'll wait, because I know everybody is like me. You're grabbing your notepad and your pen.
Word.
Go ahead, write this down. Here we
writing.
go.
I'm about to write.
You're going to go ahead, go to the website, hgtv.com/sweepstakes. You put in your email, and you have the possibility to win the Doc G Show sweepstakes, Mike.
Nice. Okay.
Yes. Now, some listeners might be saying, isn't this the HGTV's giveaway? And I will say no, because you heard it on the Doc G Show. I told you to go there.
That's a fact.
So obviously, it's the Doc G Show giveaway, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
See.
Yes.
Right.
You see how that works?
I can
Now,
see how, yeah.
You got to let your friends know. Everybody out there. They have to sign up for the Doc G Show sweepstakes. hgtv.com/sweepstakes. Now, a couple of things, listeners, since I already told you about this. Once you enter the giveaway, you are legally obligated. And by legally obligated, I mean I am not sure about any of this. But if you enter the giveaway, you are legally obligated to thank the Doc G Show. And
Thank you.
this is very important. You have to give us the $100,000. And you have to donate one of the bedrooms in the house to becoming a studio for the Doc G Show.
Seems fair.
Right?
Totally reasonable. Yeah.
I told them about it, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
It is our giveaway. So now that they know about it and they go and sign up for it, It's only fair I get a little bit of the share, you know?
Absolutely.
You know? We get a little bit of the shine, too. Now, just in case you're worried, we're not going to use the bedroom all the time for our studio.
No.
We just like it, just as an option.
Mm-hmm.
If we're cruising through, Mike, in case you're wondering, the house is in San Antonio.
Okay.
So perhaps, I mean, when you think about it, that's basically like halfway in between me and Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Mike might just meet up every now and then for a halfway show.
There we go.
In San Antonio. So if you guys win, you've got to be available for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we need the $100,000 because that will pay for us going there.
Don't worry, we'll decorate the room.
Exactly.
People are worried.
It'll be highly decorated for the show.
Decorate it.
Just like the current studio.
Exactly. Records all over the walls.
Yes. Now, Mike, have you already signed up for the Doc G Show giveaway?
I'm going to after this show.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Now, you can sign up. Just make sure, listeners, you can sign up every day. You can sign up every day
Writing
twice.
that down.
Yeah. Twice. Yeah. So you can put your email in at both HGTV and Food Network, you know? So, surprisingly, they don't have it on our show, even though it is our giveaway. Again, I'm not really sure how that works, but it's totally our giveaway. And when you guys win, you're thanking us, right? Just remember that, Mike. So now that everyone is informed, everyone is psyched about the giveaway. Mike, are you ready to fire up this philanthropic show?
Let's fire up the show, Doc G.
All 3 engines up and burning. 2, 1, 0, and lift off.
Mike, we have a fantastic show. We have the terrific Miles Zuniga of Fastball. I'm not going to lie, Mike. I had to look up how to say his last name. Before the interview, I definitely had to. I wanted to say Zuniga. Not right. Not correct. Zuniga.
Mm-hmm.
I found, and here's the thing, Mike. I found a video of him saying his name because I saw a couple. Yeah, I saw a couple of interviews of somebody else saying it, and they said Zuniga, and I was like, no, that doesn't seem right. I don't buy it. And then I found one of him. I was like, nah. I got to the bottom of this. I got. Yeah. Mike, do you know Fastball?
I don't know. I don't think so.
They're a great band. You do know them. They had a massive hit, and this is no slander to them. They had the massive hit, which made them a one-hit wonder of the 90s. They were on my list of like 450 rock one-hit wonders. The Way. Their song, The Way. Good jam, Mike. Good jam. When we take a break, listen to it. You'll know.
All right.
You'll know it. Out of My Head was their other huge jam, but they just had they had multiple 90s jams. Real big band there. I saw a picture when I was doing research for the interview, them hanging out. I think it was at Leno's show with Carmen Electra. They were on the show with Carmen Electra, and I was like, classic 90s.
Yeah.
Classic 90s. They're getting ready to go out on tour with the Barenaked Ladies, Guster and Sugar Ray.
Cool.
So, yeah. Can't wait to talk to Miles, but first, we need to start where we start.
Birthday suit.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
Birthday suit. Now, just to get this out here, none of these are Mike Charette. Okay? None of these birthdays are Mike Charette. These are the month of May birthdays here, not including Mike. But Mike, it is yours. So
Yes, it is.
there you go. Happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And you should be expecting a package coming soon.
Oh, wow. Thank you, man.
Get ready for
Appreciate
it.
that.
Yes. So
All right.
keep a lookout.
Doctor, you got my new address, right?
I hope so.
All right.
I hope so.
We'll figure it out.
If not, whoever's at that old address is going to be enjoying what I sent.
All right.
Okay, Mike. I think this person, I am going to say 98%. Jeez. This is pretty big. Born on May 21st, 1972 in New York City, he is considered one of the most influential rappers of all time, perhaps the greatest rapper of all time from New York City. He only released 2 studio albums, Ready to Die, Life After Death, with songs like Juicy, Hypnotize, Mo Money, Mo Problems, Going Back to Cali, Notorious Thugs, and many, many more. He had a massive rap battle with Tupac that ultimately led to both of them being murdered. Our birthday suit wearer died March 9th, 1997. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Notorious B.I.G.
Notorious B.I.G. Mr. Christopher Wallace is correct, Mike. Yes. Crazy, man. 25. So sad when you look back at it, you know? You just...
Yeah.
You know, I mean, when he died, I was just a tiny tyke. So, of course, 25 to me seemed enormously old anyways. And I was like, well, full life. 25, you know, but like now you look at it, you're like, oh my god, that's crazy,
25, man.
And and the Nutter Butters thing, just 2 albums, you know.
Yeah, I didn't know that actually. Yeah,
he approached it real different from Tupac, you know. Tupac was just in there constantly, just every time he would think of a rap, basically, he'd be like, and recording it. Which is why they had 35 studio albums after he died, because they were just bringing out all of these raps. But B.I.G., he was more, I mean, very different in the artistry, Mike. Very different in the artistry. You know, he approached it as like almost like a musical instrument, his lyrics, where Tupac approached it as an emotional release. You know, a difference of approach, but
yeah, it's a good point.
You know, so many of those songs, I mean, Juicy, that's one of my favorite '90s rap songs right there by far. Love that jam. Juicy is the ultimate come up song. When you have a celebration of like I made it, that's the jam right there. That's the jam. And Hypnotize, get out of town, you know?
I like One More Chance. Is that the name of the song?
Yeah,
One More Chance?
Yeah,
that song is
a little bit more of a deep cut, but it's a jam.
Yeah.
It's a jam.
First one that came to mind was like, that's a good song.
Juicy is definitely, that's my top. That's my top. The ones I mentioned, I mean, Notorious Thugs, also a jam. That one's with Bone Thugs and Harmony. That's a good one. That's a real good one. But anyways, happy birthday to Notorious Big. Would have been, what would he have been? He would have been 53, Mike. 53. God, he still wouldn't be that old. It's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways, happy birthday. Mike, are you ready to rip some headlines?
Let's rip some headlines, Doc G.
It's now time for Rip from the Headlines.
Hey, speaking, this has a little bit of a carryover here to the old Notorious B.I.G. I saw this headline over the weekend, Mike, caught my eye. Quote, Sean Combs trial. What you need to know at the end of the first week.
Word.
Mike, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say nothing. You don't need to know anything about the Diddy trial, unless you were at a freak off, which at this point seems like it is like roughly 15% of the population. Unless you were part of that 15%, you don't need to know anything.
Nope.
You just want to hear it because it's the weirdest, most salacious you've ever heard. But you don't need to hear it. I mean, like every time I hear a new headline, I'm just like, what? Why would you put that in a person's ear? That's gross. What? He should have seen a proctologist after that. That wasn't good. Like, it's just, I mean, you know, like at no point in time have I seen a headline and been like, oh, well, I did need to know how many sores she had in her mouth from oral sex. No.
Ew.
No, I did not need to know that, Mike. Not
No.
a need.
No.
Not a need. It's
Yeah,
I'll
it's
tell
weird.
you, none of those headlines are good, though, Mike.
No, it's not good, man. He's
But
a
I
weird
mean,
guy.
speaking of what we were talking about just earlier with Notorious B.I.G., I can tell you, like I was like, man, if people knew all of this stuff about Diddy back in the '90s, would have really made those death row bad boy rap battles real different.
Mm-hmm.
They would have really had some ammo on there if that were the case.
For sure, yeah.
It's yikes.
I wonder
Yeah.
if he was like that back in the day, you know?
I feel like that's a hard thing to change, you know?
Yeah.
It might have mutated a little bit as he went. You get more
Yeah.
money, it gets a little crazier, you know?
More
But
money, more oil.
More Yes, of course. That was the first title, and Notorious B.I.G. was like, oh, I don't know. Well, maybe problems? Whatever. Mike, speaking of, let's roll along. I've got another, one more Diddy trial headline here. Do you remember Aubrey O'Day?
No.
Yeah, neither do I. But I looked her up. Apparently, she was in the group that Diddy started back in the day on the old reality show, Making the Band.
Okay. I remember that.
There was the band. They had Danity Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And she was part of that.
Okay.
And now she's just sort of hung around for the last 15 years in various things. And now she's really excited. She's been talking a lot about this trial. So, anywho, here's the headline about Aubrey. Quote, Aubrey O'Day speculates it's torture for Diddy to see Cassie pregnant.
Word.
Torture, Mike. Torture. You know what? And I bet I agree. I agree with her, Mike. I bet that's all he's thinking about. He goes back to his prison cell with the potential of being there forever. And it's like, man, you know what I'm really upset about? That lady being pregnant that I dated 10 years ago. My gosh. I'm not upset about anything else or worried about anything else. But that, whoo, God, that is worrying me right now. Ugh. I don't think that's high on his priority list, Mike.
Probably not.
To me, I'd be very low on mine.
Yeah.
You know, but apparently she thinks that's torture for him, and you know she's been around him more than I have, so maybe it does. Maybe it does.
Yeah, maybe it bothers. Yeah, maybe it bothers them.
I don't know. Mike, I'm going to move on to a headline from Us Weekly. Another one. Here, this one is about
Another one.
Exactly. The classic DJ Khaled. I'm guessing you don't know Kelly Stafford.
Sounds familiar.
She's Matthew Stafford's wife. Matthew Stafford being the quarterback on the old Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, yeah. I don't know any of these people.
Yeah. They have 4 girls, Mike. Yep. 4 girls under the age of 8. And she also has a podcast. That's where most of her headlines come from. It's a pretty popular podcast. I think the name's like About Last Night or something like that, I think. Anywho, here's the headline.
Interesting.
Kelly Stafford says traveling to London for Rams game with all 4 daughters will suck. That's true, Kelly. I'm sure everyone else on the flight will agree.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mike, I'm going to explain this here in a second, but on her podcast, she talked about how she wasn't worried about, short flights, but she was worried about keeping watch of her kids, as they travel to London for this game, which is on October 15th. And, of course, they have to travel to London. It's an international game. You know, she's real worried about that. So first off, I can say I've got a really easy solution. Every game is on TV.
So true.
So don't go.
There you go.
That's the best solution, you know? Very easy. I got to say, if I was Matthew Stafford and she was my wife, that's what I would suggest. I'd be like, why? Why are you going to torture yourself? Don't. Just stay at home. It's easier. I don't need you there. There's 70,000 other people in the stadium. I'm not going to know if you're there or not. It doesn't. I mean, unless you get up in my face and are like, I'm here. Like, come on. Anyways.
Yeah.
Second, Mike, you can let me know your feelings here in just a second. But I'm going to have to take a hard stance on this. A very hard stance right now on the Doc G Show. When you take a kid in a public place and they suck, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And people have the right to be irritated at you. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying they have the right to do anything, because they don't. They can't do anything to you, but they definitely have the right to be irritated, to hate you in their head that you brought this catastrophe on everyone.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to make it clear. I'm not talking about a baby, listeners.
Right.
I'm not talking about a baby. Person has to take a trip. They have no other options, and it's with the baby. You can't get mad at the person.
Or some neurodivergence, right? Like, we got to rule that out.
Yeah. Something you don't have control over.
Right.
But a kid, Matthew Stafford's kids are going to be 8, 8, 7, and 5 during this trip. If they're out of control on a plane, it's your fault.
Yep.
It is your. By the age of 5, you should realize nobody's here for your
No.
If you want people to hear it, save it up until you're an adult like me and your mom and make a podcast. That's your options, right? But like, Mike, here's like, I get so irritated when I hear parents. You're a new parent, right? You're still in the baby phase here.
Yeah.
But I get annoyed when I hear parents on shows being like, I have the right. And when people say that they're getting mad at my kid, no, it's your problem. It's not my problem. No, it is your problem. You brought this on the plane. You should be cognizant of everyone else. And here's my analogy, Mike. You're driving down a busy city road. There are 4 lanes of traffic. A person is all the way in the right lane. They slam on their brakes because they realize they forgot they needed to make a left-handed turn at the next stoplight. So they just stop with their signal on, holding up like 400 cars and almost making all of them wreck as they meander their way over to the left lane with people honking, going, what the f***? What are you doing? Right? And then they go, oh, I had to do it because that's the way I'm going. It's not my fault. Yeah, it is your fault.
Oh, it's 100% your fault.
It is. You were supposed to plan ahead. So keep driving until you can make a U-turn and not burden the rest of traffic, you face.
Yeah.
Like, that's the same thing. The same thing, Mike. It's your fault. You brought these kids on to everybody else and you can't control them. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Mike, that gets me.
Yeah, it does, man.
It gets
Give them
me
Robitussin like the rest of us. Come on.
Exactly. Drug your kids like a responsible adult.
Seriously.
I don't get it. And then usually when I see those kids, I'm like, they're gonna end up horribly. They're gonna end up a horrible person. Like, just you can just tell. You're like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with you later. When I'm old and you're some kind of fresh punk-faced 30-year-old, it's going to be horrible. Oh. Anyways, Mike.
Doc G, I heard the tip for flying with a baby. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but starve them before the flight, and then when you get on the flight, then you feed them. What do you think about this? I think it's good advice.
I think that's pretty good. That could give them a little itis,
Yeah.
They get really rambunctious. They get really crazy. And then once they get onto the plane, you stuff them full. They get super full. They get sleepy. They go to sleep.
Yeah, I think that's the move. I
That
don't know if
makes
my
sense
wife's
to
going to
me.
go for it, but I read that.
That definitely makes sense. I like it, Mike. If I was your
All right,
wife,
cool.
I'd be all over it. I would be all over that.
We'll
I'd be
let you know how it goes.
Let's starve our kid. Yes. Yes. And then you'd be like, not for like a week. And I'd be like, are you sure? We can take it out a little bit longer if you want. Mike, we've gotten through the scandalous headlines. It's time to get serious.
Yes.
It's time to get serious from our friends at Delish.
Okay.
Is deep fried garlic worth the bad breath? Deep fried garlic, Mike.
Deep fried garlic, I've never heard of that.
I
I'm gonna
know.
go with yes, but
Well, you know, I saw it. I was like, deep fried garlic. Finally, a bad health decision that punishes everyone around you, too. It's a lose-lose situation. Like, oh, man, fried garlic? Yikes. Yikes.
I don't know. You know, does frying it, does it bring out some new flavors? Does it maybe get rid of
it's supposed to mellow it, you know?
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Like any cooking. Any cooking is supposed to mellow the garlic to a degree.
Okay.
But apparently the company that's really pushing this is Mikey V's. That's what they talked about in this article.
Hey, Mikey V's.
Mikey V's. They have 11 different flavors of fried garlic. And now this is the one thing that I really like, Mike. They call their fried garlic gator toes. Which that's a good name.
Alligator toes.
I was like, that's a solid name. It sort of looks like them. I mean, you know, alligators have green toes. They're little gnarly things like a piece of garlic. I was like, solid name, guys. Solid name. But I've got bad news, Mike. The folks at Delish, not heavily endorsing the gator toes. They said ultimately not worth the bad breath. Not worth it.
No.
They said the best flavors, dill garlic, garlic parm, and ranch. Man, talk about something to have before a first date, Mike. Just have some fried garlic parm. Hey, what's up? I'm here to take you on a date. Don't mind my car smelling like a giant pile of puke. Just get in there and try not to vomit. Like, just, oh, God.
Do they fry the whole, like, clove?
It's a whole clove, man.
Okay.
It's a whole clove, you know? Well, not the whole clove. What do they call those little... No, it is a clove, right?
Yeah, the clove. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the bulb and then the cloves. Yeah.
The bulb and the cloves, yeah.
But anywho, Mike, if you are interested, Mikey V's.
Mikey V's, okay.
I definitely would try it. And I feel like it might be one of those things that I'd like the first one, and then after like 8 cloves want to vomit, you know?
Yeah.
Like you really seems like you could overdo that. But, okay, Mike, I've got a headline from Complex here. Rudy Gobert reportedly dumps pregnant girlfriend, kicks her out with 1-year-old son.
Ugh, come on.
And people are all the time saying how nobody likes Rudy. I don't get it, Mike. He seems like an awesome dude. Come on. Like, I read this headline, and I was like, I wonder how many burgers Rudy Gobert has eaten that the cook rubbed on their before they gave it to Rudy. I'm guessing a lot. I'm guessing it has to be a lot. Like, basically every time he goes out, the cook's back there just... I'll give this a rub.
Yeah.
There we go. Like, he seems like I don't know, Mike. He rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
It's things like this.
Yeah, that COVID thing too, man. I think that was
Right?
the start of the downfall for Rudy.
Right?
That was a weird move.
Now, after this story broke, Mike, there's been several developments. He's came out and he made a statement on Instagram there. He said, quote, "There's a lot of inaccurate information out there. Julie and I are currently in the painful process of redefining our co-parenting relationship." Well worded, Rudy. Well worded. Then his ex-girlfriend came out in her own statement saying, quote, "When everyone criticized him and insulted him, I stood by him, always putting him first and choosing him always. Despite how I have been treated, I choose to protect his name for the sake of my children." Pretty nice. Quote, "I have never, ever been unfaithful to the father of my children. I am a mom, and I must prioritize my health and well-being. So there you go, Mike. I am going to be honest. The part of her comment where she said, I have never, ever, and never, ever was capitalized, been unfaithful to the father of my children. Nobody was asking, right?
Yeah.
That's sort of suspect. I mean, that's sort of a whoever smelt it, dealt it type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let me tell you something. I didn't cheat on him either. What? It was... Okay, I guess. Like, I mean, maybe that was in some comments I missed or something. I don't know.
I was just wondering what your Taco Bell order was.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
Like, it just sort of came out of left field to me. Maybe there was something I missed, but I mean, maybe that was the allegations. Maybe that's why
Yeah.
he threw her out. But I don't know. I don't know, Mike.
So true.
Mike, we are gonna take a break. We are gonna be right back here on the Doc G Show. And we are back here on the Doc G Show. Spinnaker Radio, WSKRLP 95.5 FM in Jacksonville, Florida. Mike, what do the listeners need to do?
Well, Doc G, if the listeners feel like the show is a positive way to waste their time, they should please subscribe to the show wherever they consume their podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, SoundCloud, Sirius, Pandora Plus, wherever they get their podcast. Please subscribe. It is a cost-effective way to support the show. And also, listeners, please leave us a 5-star review. We would love that.
Mike, I'm going to tell you this right now. All the numbers of viewing are up.
Nice.
But here's the downside. Like you just said, nobody is actually reviewing or liking it. Guys, you gotta like the videos on YouTube, and you gotta give us a 5-star on the platforms. Otherwise, we're like Tinkerbell. If you don't believe in us, we die. All right? We cease to exist. So you have to. I mean, it's like the other day, Mike. I put this video up. I forget what the clip was. It was us saying something stupid, right? And like 5,000 people, 5,000 views, couple of hours, like 2 likes. I'm like, what the is this, guys? Come on. You know, not your problem, listeners. Not the folks that are listening. Well, it is your problem. You need to stop right now and go on YouTube and like all the last month of post. Just
like all the clips.
Yeah. Come on now. I'm just saying, Mike. Mike, we need to thank the regular listeners. Here are the regular listeners, 5 stars.
Shoutouts.
Oh, before I get here, Mike, you may remember Portland was on a roll. Portland was scheduled to be a 5-star listener. They didn't show up on the top 25
come
this week.
on.
I know.
Come on,
they were
Portland.
so close. They were so... I was so disappointed. So disappointed. I mean, there were listeners from Portland, but they didn't make the top 25. They didn't make the top 20. Yeah, I know. Anyways, here we go.
Shoutouts.
Shout out to San Diego, California, Dublin, Ireland, Boardman, Oregon, Genoa, Italy, Riches, Texas, Barcelona, Spain, Winfield, West Virginia, Biloxi, Mississippi, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Peoria, Illinois, Katy, Texas, Toms River, New Jersey, Olive Branch, Mississippi, Asheville, North Carolina, Los Angeles, California, Spartanburg, South Carolina, Athens, Georgia, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Chicago, Illinois, Boynton, Virginia, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Falkenstein, Germany, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbia, South Carolina, Radford, Virginia, Gainesville, Florida, Frankfurt, Germany, Fort Worth, Texas, Phoenix, Arizona, Anoka, Minnesota, Ashburn, Virginia, Piracai, Brazil.
Nice.
I'll be honest, Mike, that was pretty ugly to start, but I still got through. I just pushed myself through, you know. But again, everybody that regularly listens,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Semi-regulars, Mike. Here we go. Fremont, California. Shout out to you guys. Council Bluffs, Iowa. Shout out to you. Santa Clarita, California. Shout out to you. A little bit north of L.A. there, Mike. Don't know if you know Santa Clarita. I wasn't too familiar.
Nope.
Queens, New York. Shout out to you guys. Jersey City, New Jersey. Las Vegas, Nevada. Shout out to you guys. Sholo, Arizona, back on the list, Mike. Yes, Sholo. Shout out to you guys. Chattanooga, Tennessee. San Juan, Puerto Rico. Shout out to you guys. Osaka, Japan. Tampa, Florida. Madison, Wisconsin. Nuremberg, Germany. And lastly, Houston, Texas. There you go. Thanks for all the listens, folks. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mike, it's time for your favorite segment.
Previously on the Doc G Show.
No, that's not your favorite segment.
Oh, come on, man. I'm sorry.
It's time for another guest turned us down, and I don't like the way they turned us down.
Yes. Oh, I love it.
Woo! Mike, now, I know I told you, but I think I told the listeners a little bit over a week ago, I finally had time to really try and hammer down some new guests of the show. You know? Once I get a little bit of time, then I can properly write a bunch of emails, and I sent out emails, Mike, to about 35 folks.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of folks, and I gotta say, pretty good number, Mike. Completely ignored us. Which, in a lot of ways, definitely better than sending us email back. So you know. Mm-hmm. Kudos to you guys. So, Mike, shout out to Glass Animals for ignoring us. Old Dominion, the band, for ignoring us. Billy Currington, no response. Jim Jeffries, the comedian, complete ignore. Jelly Roll, that wasn't too surprising, too big for us. Mike.
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne, completely ignored us. JJ Gray and Mofro, hometown heroes of Jacksonville, just completely ignored us. Didn't send us anything. Bill Bellamy, completely ignored us. Thanks there. Yeah. So shout out to you guys for just ignoring that email like it didn't exist. Now, even though there were some folks that completely ignored us, Mike, I've got to say, not really that many rude or a-hole responses. Maybe our segment's making a difference. I don't know. You know, maybe word's gotten around.
Yeah. But
we did get something I had never received, and I shared with you this weekend because I was to say the least, Mike, I was flabbergasted by this.
Yeah.
So, Mike, I reached out to a pretty high-level comedian. He's done all the stuff that a high-level comedian. He's been on TV. He's been on a couple of shows, some pretty popular shows. He's done all the late-night shows, spots on there. He has several specials. Like actual 30-minute stand-up specials. But I think you'd agree with this, Mike. You would say he's not the biggest comedian. If he were to do our show, he wouldn't be the biggest comedian we've ever had on the show.
No way.
No, I don't think so. Now, I give him a couple of years, he could be, but he definitely isn't now. Anywho, after I initially emailed his publicist, Mike, I say, hey, you got these shows coming up. We'd love to have you on the show. The whole rigmarole. His publicist reaches back out to me. Super nice email, Mike. It's a very nice email. Let me, I'll read the start of the email. Thank you so much for reaching out and for the thoughtful message. We truly appreciate the invitation and the platform you've built with the Doc G Show. Your guest list is impressive, and it's clear why why so many have enjoyed being on.
That's right.
Right? That's nice,
That is
Mike.
nice. That is nice.
Like, I mean, if they would have just said, we don't want to be on the show after that, I would have been like, that's cool. That's fine. They said it's clear why so many people have enjoyed being on. Awesome. I'm good with that. Like, I mean, that was a very...
It does seem just a slight bit like they send this to everybody.
Oh, sure.
I mean, no offense.
Oh, no. I'm sure it's a template, Mike. But still,
Yeah, it's a template. Yeah.
it's a well-written template, which
is.
a lot of people could learn from instead of just saying no. You know?
Yeah.
Again, you put out a nice template, Mike. I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat it up. I know they just cut and pasted the Doc G show and put it in there. That's cool. I'm fine with that. It's very nice. Mike, then they say, they continue. They say, this could be a great fit. Please find our media rate sheet attached for interview opportunities. If it aligns with your plans, let me know and we can set this up. And I was like, media rate sheet. You know? I wasn't even thinking about a media rate sheet, Mike. And I look at this sheet, and I showed you this sheet. This comedian wants $10,000 for a podcast appearance.
Wait, what?
I'm just going to let that breathe for a second. $10,000 for a podcast appearance.
Nope.
Mike, you could tell me you resurrected George Carlin, Richard Pryor, and Lenny Bruce, and I still wouldn't pay them $10,000 to be on the show.
No
Mainly
way.
because we don't have $10,000 to pay anyone.
No.
What is this, Mike? Do they think we're being funded by drug lords? Like, what? What? Maybe you're right, Mike. Maybe you're right. This is what they send to anyone they're not actually interested in because they just know they won't get a response back. Maybe that's it. Like,
Yeah.
because there's no way the bigger places that this person has been on saw this media rate sheet. No way.
No way.
No. Like I saw this and I was a little bit on your wavelength with the media sheet. Not so much with the template. I figured that one. But on the media sheet I was like, I don't even feel like this is real. Like I feel like this is something they just send to people and are like, yeah, totally, that's what we want. You're not cool with that? Oh, okay, too bad. You know, like it's just like, no way, man. Listeners, in case you're wondering, that artist will not be on our show.
Unfortunately, yeah.
You know,
he's a funny guy. I mean,
yes. Yes. But I am not rich enough for that funny.
Nope.
So, not gonna happen. Mike, we are going to take a break. We are going to be right back with none other than Miles Zuniga of Fastball right here on the Doc G Show. Welcome back to the show, everybody. We are very excited to be joined by the vocalist and guitarist for the fantastic band Fastball, who will be at St. Augustine Amphitheater on June 4th. We have Mr. Miles Zuniga. Miles, how are you, sir?
Very good, Benjamin. How are you?
I am good. I just saw you were enjoying a little Jacksonville action in Austin with the Tedeschi Trucks Band last weekend.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. One of the best live bands I've ever seen. And my new favorite guitar player, probably. I had no idea how great Derek Trucks was. I knew he was great, but I just had never seen it for myself.
Yeah.
And he's just so tasteful and soulful and has a really unique kind of picking style. Like he doesn't use a pick.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed at people that can get that kind of sound without the kind of attack without a pick. Pretty impressive.
I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a guy, he's been around for several years, Jared James Nichols. The sound that he gets, and he doesn't use a pick either. I don't understand it. I do not understand how he does it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Also, Tedeschi's no slouch herself on the
oh
guitar.
no.
In
I mean-
addition to being a great singer, she's no slouch on the guitar. So it's that band. That band is so fantastic. It was really great to see them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, now, do you go out often as far as like going to see live music, or is that a pretty rare thing for you?
I mean, I love to go check out live music, and there's so much of it coming through here.
Yeah.
So I feel sorry for younger musicians in the sense that we didn't have to compete with everything there is. You don't just have to. You don't just have to compete with other musicians. You also have to compete with games, movies, 24/7 entertainment that's just available to people 24/7.
Absolutely.
All kinds of diversions that we didn't have to compete with. But not only that, when I was coming up in Austin, it wasn't like, hey, Elton John's playing over here and Gypsy Kings are on the other room. And in the other room, it's Tedeschi and Trucks. Like,
yeah.
on any given night in Austin, there's at least 2 to 3 world-class musicians coming through.
Yeah.
So the competition is fierce.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
What's your favorite place to see a show in Austin?
Oh, probably now, for some reason, everything is named Moody. I don't know who this Moody guy is, but he's got a really good publicist because everything's named after him. We have 3 venues in town that are named the Moody. First, there was the Moody Theater, which has a very amazing, iconic statue of Willie Nelson outside.
Yeah.
And that place is my favorite. It seats about 3,000 people, but there's not a bad seat in the house. It's like they built it so that the seats in front of you are much lower, so there's no bad sight lines. Like it's amazing. It sounds great. It looks great. I love going to shows there.
Nice.
Then there was the place Tedeschi and Trucks played, which is like called the Moody Amphitheater. And it's outside, so if the weather's bad, it's kind of weird. It's not, even though it's outside, it's not as comfortable as a Moody Theater.
Yeah.
It's all right. I like it okay. Maybe not my favorite place to see a show. And then the last one is now we have this enormous Moody Center. And that is where people like, Post Malone would play or anyone like that. Anybody big.
That's the big deal. That's the big deal event.
The Enormo Dome.
Yeah. Well, now I was doing a little digging, and I saw your first ever concert, Badfinger, back in Laredo, Texas.
Yes, it's strange.
What?
It's on YouTube.
That concert is on YouTube?
Yes, not the video, but the audio is on YouTube.
Wow.
Because I went searching for it. I just Googled it and it popped right up. The YouTube popped right up.
Wow.
So I was able to go back and go, how do I remember this concert and what was it like? It was incredible. Incredible.
Who recorded it? Was it the band? Was it just a random person?
I don't know who recorded it. Who would have the presence of mind to record it? It was like 1979. Who would save it all those years until the internet was invented and then upload it? It's amazing.
That is the wild thing about YouTube. You can find almost anything on there, and somebody has saved it somewhere.
I saw the Police in 1983 in Austin, Texas, on their last tour, Synchronicity tour. That's on YouTube too. The entire concert. And so it gets me thinking like, well, certainly after the year 2000 and from here on out, there will never be another event that's not recorded somewhere. Like everything is just documented now. Which is really eerie and kind of creepy. But it is what it is. It's kind of cool that you can go back and stuff, but there'll never be a time where you missed it. Like you missed it is a phrase we have to retire. You didn't miss it. It's out there somewhere.
Go find it. It's somewhere.
Go find it. Yeah, it is. It is.
But I mean, so when you went to see Badfinger, was that? I know I've heard you talk about being a huge fan of those British bands.
I am. Yeah.
Was that like? Was it just because they were available, or were you really excited?
Not at all. No. I think of that as like top shelf whiskey. 300 bottles made or whatever it is, 300 barrels, like a limited supply and the best of the best.
Yeah.
I think of British rock from 1964, basically all the way through till. I mean, there are just so many of my favorite bands are that kind of band, whether it's the Beatles, the Stones, the Kinks, the Who. I love Led Zeppelin. I love Def Leppard's first 3 records. Before I labeled Def Leppard like pre-conditioner, post-conditioner, like their hair. There was no conditioner in the shower all the way up until Pyromania. Then there was a lot of conditioner, and it became more like music that girls would like too. But High and Dry and On Through the Night, those are to me just supreme great rock music.
Yeah.
I like Beatley stuff. I like aggressive, loud guitars. I like that special blend of I like music with basically, but I like music with melody too.
Yeah.
And so the two of those things, and the Brits seem to be able to do it like nobody else could. Kind of culminating with Oasis. Oasis to me was the last great rock band, period, but the last great British rock band through the door. And I know there's lots of other great rock bands, but just to kind of fill stadiums, they were the last one.
Yeah. Well, I heard you along with the Brits. I've heard you talk about AC/DC before.
Oh, yeah. They're in a class by themselves.
What was the? I heard it was at a Whataburger. What was the first song you heard?
You've done your homework. You've done your homework. Somewhere right around there, it gets real blurry because it had to be 1980, and I was late to the party because I grew up in Laredo, and there just wasn't a lot of places where you would discover music. There was certainly no cool record store. I had to go to the mall. I had to go to the mall to buy records. So it was as bland and corporate as you could imagine. Just whatever was on the radio.
Yeah.
But I guess it had to be Back in Black. It had to be You Shook Me All Night Long. I was in the Whataburger, and I heard that the guitar and then the drums kick in. It's just the guitar and the drums.
Mm-hmm.
Da, 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 da. And it's like the horniest song in the world. When you're 12 or 13 and you're just hitting puberty and you don't understand what's happening to you, and suddenly the guy's like knocking me out with those American thighs. It's just filthy, dirty, sexy music. It felt like the devil's music, and I really liked it. And I was like, what is? I have to go buy this album. So that was easy to find.
Yeah.
And then I saw right next to it, I saw If You Want Blood, You Got It with Angus with the impaling himself with the guitar.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have to have this. I didn't have an unlimited budget, so I had to keep going back. When I had some money saved, and I bought Highway to Hell, and I bought If You Want Blood, You Got It. And then I had to just keep going. I bought them all. I bought Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. I bought Power Age.
Yeah.
And Bon Scott scared the crap out of me. He sounded like the most evil, menacing dirtbag bully there was. I was afraid of him. I was afraid of him. I was fascinated by him. I wanted to be him. I was like all those things all rolled into one. But then the guitars and Angus Young, what a guitar player. I really wanted to be able to sound like that. I still do. I love the way he plays guitar. I love how there's no fat on any AC/DC. None of their classic recordings. They never strum the guitar. If you really listen to it, the guitar parts are just these stabs. It's punchy.
Yeah.
It's really well thought out, really disciplined music. that, and I've played it before. I've been in a band we put together just for fun called the Bonbons. It was only Bon Scott era AC/DC.
I like it.
To me, that's the classics, you know.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm nothing against Brian Johnson, and I mean obviously Back in Black is.
Oh yeah,
but
that is a magnificent album.
But you just the Bon Scott years. It's like you said. Bon felt more of the essence of AC/DC. He felt, like you said, that rebellious. Just I remember on the behind the music for AC/DC, they talk about the first time the young boys saw Bon Scott, and they said he had basically a shark's jaw hanging from his earlobe, and just a rebel, man. And like his voice was so natural too. Like
it was.
I can obviously respect the crap out of Brian Johnson for just having to belt those songs out. And almost he's gotten, like, I would say in some of the videos I've seen him live, he's gotten better as he's gone, which is, impressive. But like, it didn't even seem like Bon had to try to get those songs out, those screaming songs. Like, it was crazy.
No, it seemed like that was just where his voice lived. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
He really inhabited that character or whatever, or if that's really him. He was just so. I mean, I heard a story that he didn't bring any clothes on tour, and it looks like he didn't. Like, apparently he'd go on tour with one pair of jeans, 2 pairs of underwear, 2 pairs of socks, and 2 pairs of shirts. And what he'd do supposedly is wash 1 pair in the sink of his hotel room and hang it out to dry at night. And then the next morning they'd be ready, and he'd just switch. But the guy's never wearing anything fancy ever. He's just always naked from the waist up, or I've never even seen him in a t-shirt. It's just
not really. Yeah, no.
He looks like he's going to have a street fight all the time. Like he's out in the parking lot. He's had too many. And
He's looking like he's part of the Outsiders, getting ready to go out there.
That's right.
And just rumble.
Bad things are going to happen.
Well, you wrote. I mean, talking about AC/DC, I was wondering, you wrote a little blog about Malcolm Young when he passed away, and you met him once on a flight.
I wish I'd really met him. That is one of those things where you can't get what you want. So we were riding high at that time, and we were flying first class all the time.
Yeah.
So this was a short little flight. It was like Chicago to Minneapolis, something like that. And I start looking. I go, "Oh my God, that's Brian Johnson from AC/DC right there." And then I'm like, "There's Cliff Williams from AC." Oh my God, AC/DC! Like AC/DC's on our flight, and first class. There's only 10 seats or something.
Yeah.
There's 3 guys in the band that were riding first class, and there's 5 of them. I'm like, the odds are, I'm gonna sit next to one of the guys in AC/DC. Yeah. I went up to my bandmates and said, "What's your seat?" "Oh, you're not sitting next to me." "What's your seat?" "You're not sitting next to me." I'm like, I can't believe this. This is a childhood dream come true. I'm going to at least get to sit next to Brian Johnson or Phil Rudd or Cliff.
Yeah.
But maybe I'll get to sit next to Malcolm. That was my dream.
Yeah.
Angus, for some reason, wasn't there. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And as it worked out, I got one of the 2 people that wasn't in AC/DC, and Malcolm got the other one. And the guy, so Malcolm Young is sitting directly behind me on this flight.
Yeah.
And I'm craning my neck back to try to hear what he's saying. It's a short little flight. It's like an hour and a half, and I'm just like in agony. And I'm listening to this guy talk to Malcolm Young, and he's going, "So are you guys in a band or something?" And I don't know what he said. And then the guy just started talking about himself. Yeah, I'm in sales. I sell computers for I'm like, who gives? Talk to him about Back in Black. How did he get the guitar tones on? Talks about Highway to Hell. Talk to him about why he always plays the same guitar. I heard a rumor he bought up all those guitars, those Gretsch guitars. Ask him about this. I wanted to just write out a big list and hand it to the guy.
There you go.
So at the end of the flight, I just turned around and I just said, "You've changed my life. You were one of my favorite guitar players and my favorite bands." And I said, "My band covers Can I Sit Next to You, Girl?" And his eyes just kind of went, "Ah." He was like, "Oh, wow, I haven't thought of that song in a long time." And that was it. That's all I got. I got like a second as we were getting up to grab our bags and get off the plane.
Man, well, at least you got a second. At least you got a second.
I got a second, yeah.
Well, I mean, speaking of plane rides, I hear it was another bit of a chance meeting with a rock legend on a plane that propelled you towards Fastball.
Correct.
Gregg Allman.
Yes.
Tell me about meeting Gregg.
I mean, that was a life-changing event. It sounds corny. It wasn't like Gregg Allman is the one that... Gregg Allman just confirmed what I was already going to do, but what a confirmation. So yeah. I was kind of lost, and I really was. I was at this point in my life where I was getting older. I'd already had a record deal. Mm-hmm. I actually had a bidding war. So it was like we were hot property, There was bidding war over us, and then we got dropped. So you really feel like, well, I blew it, and that was my chance. That was my chance.
Yeah.
And my chance is gone. Mm-hmm. And I got a record deal when I was 23. Now I'm 27. I'm like, oh man, I was feeling old. And I saw Gregg Allman on the plane. I couldn't believe it. There he was.
Yeah.
He was sitting, I guess he was sitting in first class, but he'd come in to coach to talk to his band, I guess. Mm. And he came down the aisle to go use the restroom. So Gregg Allman is standing there waiting in line. I was sitting by the window seat in a row that just had two seats. And the aisle seat was empty. And our eyes met for a second. And I just said, "Thank you for all the music." Mm-hmm. And he said, "Oh, all right, brother. All right, man." And then I said, "Hey, I have a question." And when I said that, he just sat down next to me. And so he was sitting next to me for like 15 minutes. He gave me a lot of his time. He was so gracious. He was so kind. And it was wonderful talking to him. And at the end, I told him what was going on in my life, how I was lost, didn't really know what to do. Mm-hmm. And he just said, "Start another band, man. That's what I would do." All right, brother, you take care, all right? And he got up and left. And I was like, well, there's rock and roll divine intervention right there.
Yeah. I mean, that's I have heard from a lot of we've had several artists that have been lucky enough to play with Gregg before he passed away, and they just all said the same thing as far as him just being the nicest guy and always just sort of giving his time. Just seemed like a fantastic guy in general, and I guess you might say Fastball might not have been a thing if he hadn't confirmed that.
It might not have happened. It was a chance meeting that really made me feel sure of myself. Well, just take his advice and try it again.
Yeah,
which is good advice for anybody, no matter what you're doing.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because if you keep at it, and your heart's in the right place, and you believe in it, the odds are it'll work out. But you have to stay on it. You don't know how long it's going to take. That's the thing. You have no idea.
Yeah.
And but you have to really believe in it, and you have to really enjoy the process. I've told that before to people that have asked me for advice, and I say, do you love playing the guitar? Number one. Or do you love singing, or whatever instrument do you play? Do you love that? Yeah. If you love that for its own sake, the same way you love, drinking beer, or whatever, or all of life's simple pleasures, yeah. It has to be that pure. that you love it for its own sake. When you start to attach outcomes like, well, I won't be happy till I get here, or I'm not a success until I get, just forget about it. Forget about all that stuff. It's all about making the music and enjoying the music. If you can do that, then every time you're playing, you're already getting what you want. And then the rest in a way is just gravy. It'll be an incredibly difficult road if you're looking for some payoff. The payoffs end up to be kind of empty. You reach the top and you're like, this is great for a second, and then you're like, is this all there is? It's like, yeah, that's all there is. Yeah, you get a little plaque or something and people tell you you're great for a minute, and none of it really means anything. What matters is music. That's what matters, you know.
Well, before you got the little plaque there, you get back to Austin.
Yeah.
And you call up Joey from your old band,
Yes.
and he's been playing with Tony, and you
Correct.
guys get together. How many songs did it take, like you guys playing together, before you thought like, yeah, this is where we need to be?
Like a minute into the first song. Up until that point, never been in a band that felt that good, like
Nice.
right away. And I'd met Tony before, but had no idea how talented he was. So
Yeah.
that was a welcome surprise to me. Like, boy, this guy can really sing, and he can
Yeah.
write songs too.
Yeah.
And I think some people just have too fixed an idea of what they want to do, and then they don't accommodate other people. That's another. If I had to write a book about how to become successful at anything, probably, but the music industry, you got to be flexible. So that I was flexible about it. Every band I'd been in, I was the singer, the only singer.
Yeah.
I was the front man, the only front man.
Yeah.
And I went into Fastball with that intention, fully
Yeah.
thinking I'm going to be the guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I met somebody that was, just as good as me, maybe even better than me. And I was like, well, I like this, this will work. The three of us can do this, and me and him singing together can do it. And as it works out, our voices blend really, really well. It's just a chance, it just worked out that way, that he has a higher, kind of more strident, his voice kind of cuts through real good. My voice is mellower, and it kind of blends in below, and so you get the two of us singing together. It sounds really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned it before. First album you guys you made, Make Your Mama Proud. It didn't blow the doors off in terms of popularity.
No.
Now, from the way you felt making that music, like you said, when you guys first started, to seeing an album sort of, so to speak, flopping again, were you like, oh God, it's another big car. Oh, I'm gonna get, we're gonna get dropped. This is,
Absolutely. Well, the worst part wasn't even that point. It was getting home, hearing the mixes and everything, all the hard work, and just going like, gosh, this record just isn't that good. When I compared it to the stuff that was out that I loved, Beck's Odelay was had just come out, and I think What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis had come out. Like, there's just these great, amazing records that were coming out.
Yeah.
And I was like, we just sound like another band out there trying to make it. We did. I think that record's okay. I would certainly never say it's like, oh, you got to get, if you're going to get into our catalog, you got to Make Your Mom Proud. I wouldn't. I'm not precious about our stuff. I'm pretty clear-eyed, I think. By contrast, when I had the mixes of All the Pain Money Can Buy, I wasn't even sure it was going to come out, but I thought, this is a great album. And I thought, you know what? I really hope it comes out, but if it doesn't, we still hit the target. And I can at least, with pride, point to the record and say, listen to this. This is a great album.
The way on that album, of course, is the big hit. Tony wrote it. when he brought it to the band, was it automatically like, oh man, we've got to record this, or was it like, oh, another good song? Good.
I didn't think so. Which shows what I know. When I heard it, I was like, yeah, it's okay. You know, it's okay. It's fine. I wouldn't even put it in the top 4. You know, I was just like, it's all right. It's all right.
Yeah.
It was more like it's more like all the things that turned it into an amazing recording hadn't happened yet.
Mm.
And it is a really good song, but for my money, Out of My Head's a better song.
Yeah.
I also didn't write that one. So I can speak, clear-eyed. It's not one of my songs. Hey, my song's better. It's Out of My Head. When he played that to me, I was floored. I really was. I was like, this is as good as any song I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way it was okay to me. But then as we recorded it and as it took life, it had that certain je ne sais quoi, it had a certain, a thing you can't quite put your finger on, but you're like, I don't know what it is, but it's there,
I want to keep coming back. Yeah.
Well, we still didn't think it was going to be a huge hit. We didn't. I thought it might be a song like, remember that song, How Bizarre?
Yeah. OMC, I think.
Yeah. I thought it might be a hit like that. Like that's a hit, but it's not a monster hit. Right?
Yeah.
It was a pretty big hit, but or I thought it might not even do that. I thought it might be like that song, Ma Teresa's joined the mob and da 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 da. See, no one can remember the name of the song, or like, because the song title's too long, and like.
Yes, it's the one with the BB King Primitive Radio Gods.
Yes.
There it is.
I've been downhearted, babe.
It's I love that jam. That is a good song.
I thought it might do that kind of thing where like you're struggling to remember how it goes, but you definitely heard it, but don't really know how it goes. I thought it might do that, but the way it just turned into this monster hit. Yeah, it changed all our lives. It was amazing.
Well, I mean that is one of those things. You guys went in like a 6-month period from struggling as a band, struggling to sort of make ends meet, to performing on Conan, selling over 1 million albums. Like, I mean, I feel like there had to be a couple of times where you turned to Tony and Joey and we're just like, what the is going on? What is happening to us right now?
I mean, I just didn't want to question it, for fear that someone might go, I'm sorry, we have the wrong band. Here, let's move this over here. I mean, when that song came out, man, I had a Honda Civic I had moved to Los Angeles because I didn't even know if the record was going to come out. Yeah. So I was figuring I should get on with the next phase of my life. And I was driving this crummy little Honda Civic, and it would break down on like the 405, and that our song would be on the radio, and I'd be on the side of the road, sitting in my car, waiting for AAA or whatever. And I'd be like, come on, baby, come on. Like, I just kept thinking, like, this song, they're starting to play this. I hope they keep playing. I can get out of this situation. Yeah. And it happened. Like you said, within a few weeks, it was clear that my life was going to change, and it was fantastic because I'd been at it at that point for like a decade.
Yeah. So. Well, now, before we fast forward to this current tour, I did want to say too, I noticed it seemed like you're doing a bunch of traveling so far in 2025.
I have. I like to explore the world, and my son moved to Rotterdam. He's about to be 20, and he's going to school there, and so I go to visit him, and then I go check out all these other places.
Yeah,
like Spain and Italy and France and all these other places.
Well, you seem pretty partial to the Spain portions. Was that the favorite so far?
Well, yeah, because I am of Spanish descent. If you go back through the bloodline, and I grew up on the border, so I'm very familiar with Mexican culture.
Mm-hmm.
And Spanish culture is different to a degree, but there's
Yeah.
a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
I like, in general, the Mediterranean lifestyle is
Yeah.
just so relaxed. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's there. No one's in a hurry, really, and everybody's very chill and relaxed and very nice. It's
Yeah.
kind of. I really don't know a place in the United States where you could have lunch for 3 hours and people wouldn't eventually start looking at you like, are you going to ever leave? Like, we need these tips. Like, over there, it just happens without you thinking about it. You look at your watch and go, oh my God, is it 4:30 already? Like, how did that happen? We just sat down to eat and it's almost, it's almost 5.
Yeah, we need to learn how to relax better in that sense. That's,
America's very founded by Puritans and has always been a very kind of, in a way, puritanical, like a very like work.
Yeah.
Also, we have, my son explained this to me. We have an individualistic society.
Yeah.
Where the individual is celebrated, whether that's Steve Jobs or LeBron James. A lot of these countries in Europe, they have more of a collective kind of society where no one is supposed to really get above the others for the greater good. So the greater good is really what you're concerned about, your community and all that.
Yeah.
So it's just a big difference, and you can't just turn that off with the flick of a switch. It's kind of the culture in the United States. That's why people want to come here. They want to come here to make something of themselves,
Yeah.
And that's like, I have these conversations with my sister, and she'll be like, well, it's, everybody wants to move here, and it's the greatest country. And I'm like, well, hold on. Certain people want to move here. And America's really good for certain things.
Sure.
It is. If you have an idea and you want to make that idea real and you want to make millions of dollars, America is probably the best country in the world for that. If you want to have a 3-hour lunch, however, it is maybe not the best place.
You need to go to the Amalfi Coast.
I would argue that there are better places to do it.
Yeah. Those pictures of the Amalfi Coast, though, my goodness,
insane. But you better be ready to walk up some stairs.
I can do it. I think I can survive the stairs for that beautiful of scenery.
Here's the problem. You're fine if you go to the top of something and eat dinner, and have some wine, and then you're.
Oh, if you're at the bottom and you finished.
If you go have dinner on the beach, and now you've got to come up to your hotel, that's a different story, my friend.
That's a steep climb. Yeah, I can
feels
see.
Brutal.
Well, now, like I mentioned, you guys are gearing up for the tour. This is a whole summer tour. This is the last summer on Earth tour with Barenaked Ladies and Guster. Now, is this the first tour you've done with Barenaked Ladies?
It is.
Nice.
No, what am I saying? It's not.
Oh, okay.
We did a whole tour with them in summer 98, the Horde tour.
Oh, wow. Back in the day, right after
with Blues Traveler.
Nice. Right after the album took off.
Yeah, it was Blues Traveler. Oh, man, his name's on the tip of my tongue. Who is that slide guitar player? He's from LA. He sits down when he plays.
Robert Randolph?
No,
keep
going. This is the other guy. God, I'm sorry. I don't remember his name. Ben Harper.
Oh, Ben Harper. Nice.
It was Fastball, and then Barenaked Ladies would come on, I believe, and then Ben Harper, and then Blues Traveler.
Nice. So it's a 27-year reunion.
That's right. Yes.
Nice. Well, you guys, I mean, you're headed pretty much every corner of the country. Yeah.
We're going lots of places.
And I noticed we talked about it in Austin, but like half the venues are amphitheaters, are like outside venues.
Yeah.
Do you now? Are you a fan? I mean, we talked about watching a show. Are you a fan of performing outside shows?
I think I like performing more inside. There's something about the way it feels like people are enclosed, and also it's dark. I like the dark. I think that's the best way to see anything is it's dark and the stage is lit up. It's very dramatic. It looks really cool. It's just going to be a better experience. But there's something nice about being outside if the weather's good and people are drinking beer and having fun. It's cool, you know. I can go either way. I mean, but if I had to choose, I would pick indoor venues just because I think it's a better presentation. Maybe.
I was about to say I can see like I feel like it might be more fun for the average goer just because, like you said, there's everything going on. But you're probably going to miss some things going on because you're outside, and who knows, something will distract you, and then you'll be like, "What happened? Did they play the song? Did I miss it?"
Yeah, definitely the room. The room itself, I always say, can either be your best friend or your worst enemy, depending on what the room was built for. Like when I see up and coming musicians, everyone's seen that guy in the corner of a restaurant strumming on an acoustic guitar, and the chatter inside the restaurant is so loud you can't even hear the poor guy. In that case, the room is his worst enemy, and that's because the room was designed for people to come and eat. It wasn't designed for people to listen to music.
Yeah,
it's an uphill battle. So venues, when you get to the level of where we're on this tour, all the venues are top notch.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty ideal conditions to make music in.
Absolutely. Well, now you're the show near us that you're coming to, St. Augustine Amphitheater, one of the outdoor arenas there, June 4th.
Yes.
I'm guessing you've had to have played there at some point.
I did.
Yeah.
I had one of the worst hangovers the next day. As I pretty much have given up drinking. I still drink on occasion. That was one of the occasions. There was a lovely, beautiful restaurant in St. Augustine, which I'm looking to return to because the next day's a day off. So
nice.
It was a glorious meal, and then we went to some kind of cigar bar and heard music afterward, and I drank some kind of dark liqueur and had a cigar, and I didn't think things through. The next day, I had to drive all the way down to Miami, and I had to drive. I hate driving. The only way to get there was I had to drive myself. And, that's a sad state of affairs, my friend, when you're hungover and there's not a relief driver on board. It's just you. And you're like, how much further? How much further? Oh, God, how much further? You know?
Well, now I hear at St. Augustine Amphitheater, they do have some great catering. I've heard this from several artists as far as the backstage. So I take that. You might have some great food the night of.
Well, that would be what I would do. But sometimes I eat twice because I'm a hedonist. And, it's true. Ask anyone who knows me. I'm a hedonist, and it's hard to pass up.
Well, you already told me you took 3-hour lunches, so obviously.
I love that kind of stuff. I do. I love it. It's one of life's simple pleasures, man. An amazing meal in a restaurant. So it could very well be that I would eat at 5, and then maybe try and eat again at 9.
If there's room, Well, I mean, I'm excited for the shows. I think our listeners are excited for the shows.
Great.
Is there any venue that sticks out for you on the schedule?
I'm glad you asked that. There was a day, probably, we're talking 30 years ago. We were on tour in Denver, and Joey and I, our drummer, we had a day off, and we drove out to Red Rocks. And we sat there a I don't know if it's still this way, but back then you could go when the venue's closed and the amphitheater is open, almost like a state park or something.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to sit in the stands at Red Rocks, and we were staring at the stage, and we just said, someday we're going to play here. Believe it or not, it never happened during the biggest part of our career from 98 to whatever, 2001, whatever that was.
Yeah.
We never got to play Red Rocks. We're finally going to get to play Red Rocks on this tour, and I'm so excited, I can hardly wait. So it's just such an iconic venue, and
absolutely,
I have been dying to grace that stage. So it's time.
That's a big check off the list right there.
It is. That's a bucket list item, Ben.
I actually, we had last week, me and my co-host on the show, we were talking about coolest venues to play at. Now, I'll be honest, Red Rocks did not hit my top 3.
Oh, what are your top 3?
It was in my honorable mentions that I had. Red Rocks.
Is the Gorge on there?
It is not. Mine was a little weird, I'll be honest. But like the arena at Nimes in France.
Okay. You're going worldwide here.
Exactly. Well, and I mean, it's just so epic, and it's been there for 2,000 years.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow. Okay.
So that was number 3. Then number 2 was the Hollywood Bowl.
Yes.
Just I mean, just so many amazing, and I love the slight increase, like it has just this slow rise of the audience, and it's good. And then my number 1, I'm pretty positive you've played at the number 1, the Troubadour.
Yes.
I
have.
And the Troubadour is just, I mean, it's just so much history, and it's always like you hear something about a band's first performance in LA, and it's almost always the Troubadour. Like all of these iconic bands, the Metallica's first concert in L.A., Troubadour, right. Elton John's first concert in L.A., Troubadour, like just
right.
Yeah. And so that one hit number 1. But like I said, Red Rocks was on the honorable mentions. It was very close, just because it has to be. I think you have to say it's the best outdoor venue in America.
I mean, yeah, I've been to a show there. It was incredible. But also, it's just immortalized in the U2 Under a Blood Red Sky album and the footage.
Yeah.
Sunday Bloody Sunday, all that bit is there. And it's an iconic venue. And I agree with I don't know, I've never heard of the place in France, but I agree with your other choices. I have yet to do, I don't know if I'll ever, it's my bucket list to get to play the Hollywood Bowl and to get to play Madison Square Garden. Those I never got to do that either so far. So hopefully, that would be great. I'm not saying I had to headline. I just had to play it.
Next tour.
I mean, opening for, I don't think he's touring anymore, but opening for like a Bon Jovi or someone like that. You could play Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Miles, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but
thank you. Yeah, man, it was a great interview.
Absolutely. Listeners, make sure you check out Fastball and Barenaked Ladies at St. Augustine Amphitheater June 4th. You can also check out Fastball's Patreon page. Right now, let's take a listen to Daydream by Fastball right here on the Doc G Show. Back here on the Doc G Show. You just heard Miles Zuniga of Fastball. My goodness, Mike. I'll tell you, that is a really cool story. Him, having his first band, Big Car failing, him not sure of what he wants to do, and then he's flying back from L.A., and a chance encounter with the Hall of Fame rock musician Gregg Allman. Gregg Allman tells him, make another band, and then he makes another band, Fastball, and they go straight to the top of the charts. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. And I couldn't help but laugh in the interview. The reason I was laughing when he was talking about Gregg Allman is the accent that he gave Gregg Allman just reminded me almost exactly of the neighbor from Office Space. In the movie Office Space, his neighbor that he always talks to, that's what in my head is. I'll tell you, Peter, man. No, that's up. That's up, Peter, man. Yeah, I'll tell you, 2 chicks at once. That's just, that's all I could think about when he was being Gregg Allman. I was just like, oh, man. But, it's crazy. Crazy. Just, you see Gregg Allman, and Gregg Allman tells you keep pushing through. You know you're doing the right thing. So,
wonder if he ever got a chance to thank him for that. Hey, man, thanks for that advice.
Well,
Appreciate you.
he started with thanking him for the music that he made. So, thanked him for one thing. I guess, it's a little bit too late to thank him now since he has been dead for the last 8 years. But,
Well, hopefully he got a chance before then.
Yeah. Shout out to Gregg Allman. Shout out to old Miles Zuniga for coming on the show. Make sure you check out their show coming up here. Going to be at the old St. Augustine Amphitheater here in about 2 weeks. Make sure you get your tickets. Mike, we need to move on to the fastest growing segment in the world.
Mike C, top 3.
Mike, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know what to do with this one.
Nope.
It was too much for me. It was too much for me. I don't remember any previews, honestly.
Really?
That actually stick out in my head that I'm like, oh my God, I watched that and it was amazing. Like, I had to go back and watch all of these. Like,
Me too.
I just watched like 30 different previews and was like, okay, I guess I like that one. That one looks pretty good. So mine are all back from, I made them all. I could have gone back and watched like ones when I wasn't alive, which I did watch some of those. But I was like, I can't include these. I didn't actually see these movies. So I included movies that I've seen that I like their trailers. That's what that's my list. Now, do you have any honorable mentions, Mike?
Yes, I have 2.
Okay, I just have one. My one is The Fighter. And I actually ironically brought up The Fighter last week. It's with old Mark Wahlberg and Christian Bale. It's about Mickey and Dickie Ward. Very love the movie. It's an awesome movie, and gets you pretty fired up for the movie. I always like a good. People are like, oh, you got to have a trailer that doesn't tell you too much. I don't know. It depends on the movie. If it's like a documentary, you already sort of know what's happening. So it's more of like a psych up montage video than anything when it's like a mockumentary, So, anyways. The Fighter. That would be my honorable mention, Mike. Okay.
Nice.
What are your 2?
Dark Knight from 2008.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could probably put that one on there. I saw that on a ton of lists. I don't know. Like, I watched, that's why I didn't put it on, like, my top 3. I watched it. I was like, it's all right.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do? You got a Joker. You show the Joker being crazy. You see Batman getting suited up to fight Joker. I didn't think it was...
Yeah.
I didn't think it was too... it was cool. It got me excited for the movie, but, everybody had it, number 1 on their list. And I was like,
Yeah, I think people were pumped about it.
They're real hyped, and then Heath Ledger dying that heightened it even more, and Anyways,
2014 Godzilla with Bryan Cranston.
Okay,
that was a good trailer.
Okay,
that was a good Godzilla trailer.
you're a big Godzilla fan.
I'm a big Godzilla fan. Yeah, for sure.
I didn't see that one on the list. So, yeah.
I think that was also the first. I don't know. I think it might have been one of the first Godzillas after the other good Godzilla movie in like 1998.
Yeah, like the recent Godzillas, not like the 80s Godzillas that look totally fake and whatnot.
Yeah. So
I had one of those on VHS, Mike. One of the old school Godzillas. Mm-hmm. They were pretty crappy. They were. It's pretty crappy. Mike, moving on to the top 3. My number 3, Last Samurai.
Sweet.
Last Samurai with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah.
Just it's a great movie. It's Tom Cruise committing to the role as he always does, you know. And I'll be honest, this one left me wondering, like, maybe it was because it came out when my brain was still not fully developed. It still isn't, but like then really not. And I was just like, what? Is Tom Cruise supposed to be Japanese? Because he's not selling me as a Japanese dude. I do not buy it at all. And then you get a little bit of the scenario. You find out. You're like, oh, okay. All right. He's a U.S. soldier. Okay, now I get it, right? And it gets you fired up, you know? And I'll be honest, that movie in general, that's an awesome movie. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
You should see it. That'll get you fired up, Mike. It'll get you fired up. It's pretty awesome. All right, Mike, you're number 3.
Number 3, yeah, I think you're right. Like all these for me, all the movie trailers were from like when I was like much younger, and movie trailers would just blow your mind, you know. But with that being said, 1998 Godzilla, Matthew Broderick. Actually, you rewatched the trailers. I rewatched the trailers, and yeah, man, it was just it had everything. Just slight previews of Godzilla, not too much. A huge ship with huge claw marks on the side, which really doesn't match how big Godzilla was in the movie.
Right.
There was some bad continuity with the size, but 1998 Godzilla. I actually want to rewatch that movie because of the trailer.
But when you're like 10, you're like, that's awesome.
Oh my God, this is gonna be amazing.
I don't see any problems with this.
Yeah.
Mike, my number 2, Wolf of Wall Street, Leo.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, man.
So true.
You know? And it's just one of those wheeling and dealing. There's money going everywhere. There's action. You're like, what? Yeah. It's just which I noticed. Like I almost dug into this, Mike, but I didn't have time to actually do it. But I was like, what are the best comedy trailers? Because none of these lists actually have comedies on there. And I was like, how do you because I mean, obviously you have to have some good zingers in a comedy trailer. You have to have some good lines there. But then you don't want to give them all away. And it's just like, I just feel like, I was like, no comedies are on the best previews list. But anyways, that was as close as I got to a comedy, was Wolf of Wall Street. So
yeah.
All right, you're number 2, Mike.
Number 2, the movie 2012. When it's so the trailer is there's like a monk, and he's like running up this hill, and then he finally gets to he's in like a mountain range, and and the monk gets to like his like shack or whatever. It's on top of the hill, and then he's like ringing the bell, and you see it, and it cuts to the monk's face, and he's like, his eyes are like crazy huge.
Oh, I think I do remember that.
And then you see the big wall of water washing over the mountain. And Doc G, I think I've talked about this on the show, but I'm a huge fan of huge wave scenes in movies. And
you're terrified by them in real life.
Well, yeah, definitely terrified by them. Yeah, it's a reoccurring nightmare. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, huge water moment. 2012, everybody.
I
Terrible
am
movie.
terrified by this.
Everybody hated that movie, by the way. Everybody hated 2012. I still enjoyed it a lot.
Hey,
but
hey, it all matters, Mike, what you liked.
exactly, man. See, I don't think too hard. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, they can run away from ice, for freezing everything
Sure.
around you. You can run away.
Why not? Don't think
Yeah.
about it too hard, you know?
Nah, don't think about it. It's a
Mike,
movie.
my number one, this is not a reflection of the main actor. This is a reflection of the movie. Sadly, he ruined it. Braveheart. Yes.
How dare you, Mel Gibson? Really?
I love the movie, Mike. It was
Yeah.
an awesome movie, and it's a psych up. Everybody can get behind it, man. You're being oppressed by those English turds. We're gonna take our country back. They may take our lives, but they're never gonna take our freedom. It's it's just everybody can get fired up for that. It's the ultimate get back movie. They murdered his wife, and he's just out there for revenge, man. Just a berserker going bananas.
Yeah.
It's
Blueface.
Yeah, that was back when you could really rep for some Mel Gibson. You could do it. And it was definitely that's sort of, I don't know if you'd say that might be the height of Mel Gibson right there was Braveheart. I think that might have been the high point of his career.
Yeah. Oh man, he was killing it back in the day.
That was
Mel Gibson had a lot of good movies.
Then there was a getting pulled over moment, and that's where it went sideways.
Yeah.
Anywho, good trailer, good movie. Mike, you're number one.
My number one, and the whole inspiration behind top 3 movie trailers for me, was Cloverfield.
Okay.
Which, if anybody remembers the trailer, I will explain. It's a party scene. Everybody, oh my god! And it's what do you call it when it's like first person?
A POV.
POV. Guys filming, and everybody's at the party. They're having a good time, and then all of a sudden, lights go out, and then they're like, "What? Oh my gosh, what happened?" And then somebody on the news, they turn on the news, and the reporter's like, "We think there was an earthquake, but we're not sure." And then they're like, oh my god, and then the lights go out or something like that, and then they go onto the roof, and then they look over towards, like, they're in New York City, they look towards all the, like, Times Square, and there's a huge explosion. Oh my god, what's going on? And then they all run outside. It's all POV, man. It's really cool. It was totally different. And then they go outside, and then there's another huge explosion. People are running away. People are like, oh my god, they're running away from something, and then the Statue of Liberty head just crashes into the street.
Oh my god.
And you're like, oh my, and then there's a claw mark on the Statue of Liberty head, and
my god, I see
trailer.
a continuing theme of claw marks, Mike.
yes, see any big waves, big monsters.
They get you.
I love it.
They get
Yeah,
you. My
and Batman trailers. I you know what? Honorable mention, the Man of Steel. Now I didn't go back and rewatch these trailers, but the Superman trailers were always good too.
Well, I'll say the first Batman, 1989 Batman. It had a killer trailer.
Really?
I
didn't see that one.
It had a killer trailer. I'm sure I watched it when I was like 3 and don't remember it, but I've gone back and watched it several. It's got a killer trailer. Tim Burton knows how to make a trailer, But yes. Okay, Mike. What's next week? What do we have for next week?
Next week, top 3 days of the week.
Okay, we're going to cut this one down. I'm going to have 4 honorable mentions, Mike. I have 4 honorable mention days of the week. That's tough. I think that, honestly, that sort of depends on my mood,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. It varies from week to week. What if I was like, I'm gonna have to do a lot of research on this one. Hold on, let's look this up. And apparently, people are saying Friday's pretty good. I don't know.
Yeah, I was inspired. I heard a radio segment, and they were like, "What's the worst day of the week?" So I might next week also, in addition to my top 3 days of the week, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the worst day of the week for me.
Well, I mean, we'd automatically think the 4 that you didn't include would be your bottom 4.
For
So
sure.
They would be
Sure.
They would be that worst. But I mean, it's like I said, it really depends though for me. I'm gonna have to put a little thought in this because
top 3 days of the week.
I guess I got to do.
It's different for everybody because some people have off on Mondays and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Monday is my favorite day of the week."
Yeah, you got to do. I got to do averages too, like what most often is my favorite, I guess. Yeah, it changes. Anywho, Mike, we are going to move on. We've got 2 birthday suits left. We've got a notable 80s figure, 1980s figure, and we got a foosball, a football player. Mm-hmm. Who do you want first?
Let's go with the football player.
Okay. Born on May 21st, 1996 in Firebaugh, California. Our birthday suit wearer went to Wyoming to play football. Coming out of college, he was considered one of the most physically impressive quarterbacks in the draft. He was drafted 7th overall by the Buffalo Bills. Since being drafted, he has been a 3-time All-Pro Bowler and was MVP of the league last year. Name that birthday suit wearer.
Yeah, not sure.
Yeah, Mike's not a footballer, folks.
Nope.
J.A. are the initials. Any help?
No.
I bet you've heard the name. Josh Allen.
I was going to guess Allen as the last name, but yeah.
Josh Allen. He reminds me of Chris Pratt. That's what he reminds me of. I always contend if they were to make a movie about Josh Allen right now, they would need Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt's like 15 years older than he is, but still, it works. It works. Mike, okay, here we go. Our last birthday suit, born on May 21st, 1952, in Chicago, Illinois. Our birthday suit wearer first gained large-scale notoriety when he was in the movie Rocky III as Clubber Lang.
Mr. T.
Mr. T is correct. Yes. Woo! Went on to the A-Team, and then that's pretty much it. He was an icon with his gold chains and his catchphrase, "I pity the fool." Mm-hmm. So there you go, Mr. T.
Yeah.
He also was a wrestler as well. He did some of that too.
He also had a fantastic mohawk, Doc G. I mean, I feel like you really left that one out there.
I mean, I could have added it in there if you didn't get it, but you got it from Rocky III.
Okay.
So, I mean.
Great mohawk, everybody.
Yeah, it's varied in size and length. Mm-hmm. He cut it down sometimes where it was a very thin, small mohawk, then he would widen it out. And then in the early 2000s, he had that thing really going long there for a while. And like going all the way back instead of just like the top there that he had for a while. So it's a lot of variations of the mohawk over the years, But anyways, shout out to Mr. T turning, what is Mr. T turning? Wow, Mr. T turning 73. Good Lord. I didn't think Mr. T was that old. Happy birthday to Mr. T. Happy birthday to Josh Allen, and happy birthday to Notorious B.I.G. Mike, we need to wrap it up. We've got some fantastic guests coming up. My goodness, all the guests. We got Dispatch. We've got Young Gun Silver Fox. We've got Cardinal Black. We have got just a bunch of different artists coming on the show. But for now, we need to wrap it up. I've been your host, Doc G. With me, as always, the one, the only, Mikey Maximus, the Vernicus Charette.
Always a pleasure, Doc G. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And until next week, zip it up and zip it out.
Zippity-doo-dah.